Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I thought it would be a really fun video to show you how we could get this to-do application to save state even on refresh or like a full page reload, right? So currently, if you are to say something like wash car, add this, and you were to say like paint house, right? And add this to our list, and if you click one, right, and then we just do a full page refresh, right, they're gone. So the state gets wiped, and I thought it'd be really cool to update this Blazor application in order to save state, so that way when we do refresh, the to-dos or whatever we've removed or added or crossed out actually stays. So let's jump back over into the actual code, into our Visual Studio Code editor. And inside of here, we're going to want to go back into pages, into our index razor, which is where we were doing all of our work. Let's move that out of the way just a little bit. So here's the code as we had left off from the previous video. Go watch that to catch up, or I will have a link to GitHub where you can just pull down the code yourself and you can start working right from where this video starts. But so the idea is that we want to be able to basically store some to-dos every time. Basically, we want to store this list somewhere, and that somewhere will be local storage. I'll explain more about what that is, but we're going to store this variable basically every time we make a change to the list, or every time we make a change to any of the to-dos in the list. If you remember, we have this to-do model where we have a title, and we also have a is complete property on it, right? So here's a to-do with an is complete. We're going to want to be able to save every time we make one of those changes. So I think the first place where we should start is probably just to make a method, and we'll call it public, and it'll return nothing, and we'll just call it save to-dos. Pretty simple, right? That's a good name. Now, the place where we want to actually store these to-dos is local storage. So we're going to need something in order to make that happen. So let's open this little icon right here. That's for our extensions. And I'm going to want you to install an extension called NuGet Gallery. So you can just type in here, you can say NuGet Gallery. This one right here. So if you click on that, you should see install here, or should say install here, like this one right here should be green. Let's go ahead and install that. Easy. This is going to make installing NuGet packages very simple. And NuGet packages are somewhat like, if you come from the npm JavaScript world, it's sort of like an npm package where it's someone else wrote the code and we're just going to kind of use it. Once you download the NuGet and install that, you can press Control P or Command P, depending on what operating system you're on. Command P is for the Mac and Control P is for Windows. And then we're going to look or add this little greater than sign, and then so I got NuGet Gallery right there, but you can also just type in NuGet, open gallery, hit enter on that, and then we're going to be faced with this kind of interface where we can basically search for what we're looking for. So we want to be able to manipulate local storage, and Blazor doesn't have a way to do it that natively, but thankfully there are lots of packages out there that we can use. And the one we're going to use right now is called blazor.localstorage. Click on this, you'll see this little Blazor to-do app.csproj, and right here we'll just kind of add that. Say yes, I want to install this version to my csproj. Just go ahead and click that. It's going to download that for you. And while we're here, we're going to also need one more package, which is going to be Newton Soft, I believe. Is it? No, I think that is it. Newton Soft, like that. There we go. Okay, so Newton Soft, we're going to want this one right here. Same thing. Go ahead and check that box and install. Now, once those install, press any key. Cool. So we got those installed. We can close this now. We don't need it anymore. And inside our Blazor to-do app.csproj, let's go ahead and open that. Double click that. And this is where you'll see an accumulation of packages that this application has. So right here, you'll see this Blazor Blazor local storage, and you'll see the Newton soft.json. Just wanted to show you guys where those packages were being installed. So let's go ahead and close this. Back in our index.razor, we're going to want to use those packages that we just installed. So we're going to want to use it right here in this save to dos method. So first we need to inject them though. So inject @inject, and then we'll say Blazor local storage, which is the package, and then we need the local storage service off of that, and then we're going to make a local variable that we can reference this service with on our side. So basically this @inject is our dependency injection service kind of happening here. So we're asking for this local storage service, and the dependency injection system with Blazor or C#.net is going to set this service to this variable. So now we'll have access to that service using this. So we'll just say local storage, we'll grab that, come down here, local storage, and we're going to use the set item async. This will take 2 arguments. The first argument is going to be a string or a key that we can use, and not single quotes, we're gonna need double quotes. Kind of like a key that we're going to use to set items and get items. So we'll just call this saved to dos, like that. And then the second argument is going to be the to dos itself. Now that's not going to work right off the bat. What we're going to need to do is actually serialize this to dos object. In order to do that, we will pull in that other package with a using statement. Newton.json, the package we installed earlier. Got some IntelliSense there, that's nice. Come back down here and we're going to say JSON convert, which is basically a class from that JSON NewtonSoft.json package, and serialize object. And let's go ahead and close that off with one more parentheses. Now we can save the file. And now that we have this set up, this basically will store our to-dos as a string to this key inside of local storage, which local storage is in the browser. And so this won't work right now. What we need to do is call this whenever we, for instance, add a to-do. So inside this add to-do, we'll say saved to-dos or save to-dos, and execute it just like that. So now every time we add a to-do, we'll be sure to save it in our local storage. So let's see what we got. So go ahead and press Control-tilde if you don't already have the terminal open. That's the same command for Mac and Windows. And we can run .NET watch to get some rebuilds going every time we save something. .NET watch run, just like that. Okay, let's get that building. Give it a second. Okay, let's go ahead and open up localhost 5001. So we'll come over here to the browser, localhost 5001, and we're just loading. So what's going on here? Let's do Command Option I to open the developer tools, or Control Shift J if you're on Windows. And it looks like we got some error here. So cannot provide a value for property local storage. Now back in our index.razor, this property right here is what it's complaining about, and it says it can't have a provide for this, right? Cannot provide a value for the property local storage. So we're referencing it here, but we need to do one more thing in order to get this working. We have to tell the .NET Framework's dependency injection about this service. Now we installed the package and we inject it in the template that we had there, but in here inside of services, we have to say add, I believe it's Blazor local storage. I believe that is it. And then if it still gives you an error, you can command click on it, or control command dot, or control dot, or command period, control period. And then you should get the option to import this using statement here. So we'll just import that. That'll get that working. Let's see if that works on refresh. So we're rebuilding here. If you did .NET watch run, Give it a second. Okay, looks like that reloaded. Let's refresh the page. All right, cool. So let's see if we broke anything else. So in here we'll say testing, and we'll say pay bills. All right, go ahead and add these. Cool. So this all seems still be working. So let's see the local storage. So if you have your developer tools open, let's go ahead and click this arrow. Unless you have it far enough open, you might have this far enough open so you can actually see it. So if you keep application, and in that application, if you open the local storage, under the storage tabs here, you should see our key save to-dos with our value, which is our serialized version of our to-dos list. So now when we refresh the page, it's still wiping things out. Let's see that one more time. So we say testing, add that, refresh the page, and it doesn't save anything. Although we have our save to-dos over here, we're actually not retrieving it whenever we reload the application. So let's see how we might be able to do that. So back over into our code inside of our index.razor page, we are going to want to figure out how we can get these to-dos to load from local storage every time we load the page. And in order to do that, we're going to take advantage of one of Blazor's lifecycle hooks. And a lifecycle hook is similar to if you've worked with React or Angular. They also have lifecycle hooks that are available to you. So these are called by the framework itself at certain times whenever an application loads a component or a page. And the one we're going to use is on initialized async. So we're going to do protected, and we're going to override it. So each one of these lifecycle hooks actually already exist for each component or template page, but we can override them. So on protected, override, and we're going to say async task, and then on initialized async, just like that. Doesn't take any arguments. And then inside of here, we're going to want to call or write the code that is going to retrieve those to-dos every time. So I think what we're going to need here is local storage, and then we're going to want to do probably get item async, just like this. And inside of here, we're going to want to call by the key name here. So we have save to dos. So we're going to do that same thing here. We're going to say save to dos. And you're going to have to await this, right? Because it is an async method. So we're going to say await. And then here we'll set our to dos property to whatever we get back to this. Now, what we get back from this is not something that we can just set directly to this. We actually are going to have to set it in a property first and deserialize it because we serialized it earlier. So we'll say stored to dos instead. Make another space down here. And when we get this back, we're going to say, how about parsed to dos, and we'll say JSON convert, and we'll say deserialize object, and then here we have to tell it, we'll say stored to dos right here in between these brackets. We're going to have to tell it what we want it to deserialize to, or what we hope it will deserialize to. So we're going to say take this string and turn it into a list of to-dos, hopefully from the content or the data, right? So this is what we're hoping for. Oh, we need one more bracket there to close that out. There we go. That should work. Now that we get our to-dos, we put them here, we parse them. Now we're just going to set our to-dos equal to parsed to-dos, just like this. And we still have an error here. We need to specify the type of data it's going to expect to get back. So we're just going to say string here, just kind of like what we did here. We're specifying that, hey, you should expect a string, where this one's like, you hopefully will be able to deserialize this object as a list of to-dos. So let's save that. Hopefully this error will go away. Once that refreshes, should be able to go back to our main screen. Okay, here we go. So let's refresh the page, and hey, there we go, testing. So now when we add something like pay bills, add that. Let's do another one. We'll say clean clean car. And we'll check one of these, and I'll check another one, and yeah, that's good. So let's go ahead and refresh the page. Now you notice that it didn't do anything with the checks. When I cross these two out, or even if I remove it, we're still getting the same results as if we just were to add. And that's because inside of our code, we're actually not updating our save to-dos anytime we remove a to-do or anytime we mark something as complete. So let's just go ahead and throw that in there. That way we got everything staying up to date. So we'll just say save to-dos, save to-dos, save to-dos, just like that. And this will keep everything nice and up to date. Now once that refreshes, we'll try it again and see if it's all working. Building, cool. Okay, come in here, refresh the page. Still saving just fine, but let's cross this out and let's remove this one, and then let's refresh the page again. There we go. Now we got everything doing it how we would want. So let's go ahead and remove this one. Let's add another one. We'll just say, well, not testing. Let's say make bed. Add that one. We'll remove testing. We'll cross out make bed. Refresh the page, and we still have make bed nice and crossed out. Awesome. Okay, so to finish out this video, there's one more thing or a few more things I would just like to do just as a bit of cleanup. So we have a lot going on in our initialized async. So I think we should just make a private method that will do what we need to do. So let's say private, and it's going to return a, should be async, and it's going to return a task, and it'll return a list of to-dos inside of that task, and then we'll just say get stored to-dos, get stored to-dos, just like that. And a little weird spacing there. And then here, we'll basically just copy that code that we had up here for the most part. Let's copy this, and then here, and then bring this down here. Let's paste that. Let's fix this up a little bit. And instead of parsing to-dos here, we'll just say return the to-dos, just like that. Okay, I think that should be good. And then back up here, we'll just say await get stored to-dos. And that just cleans that up just a little bit so we don't have too much going on in our uninitialized async. It's always good to kind of put things in their own methods, very short, small methods, makes them easy to read. So back up in here, so we do use this save to-dos key in more than one place. And it's always a good idea to put these keys or things like strings inside of a property. So let's say private, we'll make it a const, oop, do that, const, there we go, string, and we'll call this, let's call this to-do storage key. And then we'll just set this to that key, just like that. Now we can copy this, and we can replace these two values. That way, if we needed to reference this key anywhere else, it'd be really easy to do so. Okay, let's save that. Let's make sure everything is going to be working. Okay, looks like the build was successful. Let's see if it still runs. Looking like we refreshed the page. That looks okay. Let's just have testing in here. Let's say paint house. Add that. Okay, no problem so far. Let's do that. Let's refresh the page. Okay, looks like there's no problems. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see any of my future content, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you have any feedback for me, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And thank you for watching.